Good day, comrades. My name is Arcady, and today we're going to be talking about how to create an irresistible offer. Or, in other words, I'm going to be walking you through an irresistible offer framework that I used to create an offer that made me over 80K in a B2C niche when I was a high ticket coach. So, without further ado, let's dive right into it. The irresistible offer framework that made me 80K. As already stated, my name is Arcady. I was a high ticket coach for the past 4 years, made more money in 1 month than I made in a whole year, collected over 80K in cash, and that all without running a single ad, relying on referrals, or posting a ton of content. I now create this content to share some no BS money making strategies for high ticket coaches so that you can make some cash too. Got nothing to sell you, so enjoy the video. Today, what I want to cover is the specific framework I used to create an offer that then generated us 80K in cash collected so that you can too have an offer that rock and rolls. You can find a prompt that you can copy paste in ChatGPT after this video down below in the description. So, a bit about backstories or learning from past mistakes because that's important. Over the years of being a coach, we changed a total of 6 different offers and countless variations of those 6 specific ones. So, number one, the first one that didn't generate us any cash whatsoever was balanced, achieve balance through personal transformation. Offer number one. We were selling it at $97 and we made, yeah, I lied. We didn't make like no money. We made maybe 2, 3 sales with that. So then we moved on to offer number two. Let's overcome procrastination and achieve a life of balance. I know, very different. And this one, funnily enough, didn't generate us any sales whatsoever. We then shifted to number three, start living a life of balance in 90 days or less. As you may see, the development is happening not only in the wording itself, but also in the colors that we're using. Style, though, stays pretty much the same. This one was a bit better. We started charging $9.97 and we made 2 or 3 sales with it. We then moved on to self love family community for women. So start saying no to energy drainers and yes to your own needs. As you may see, there is a development in words, and I'll explain in which specific parts it's happening. But with this one, we were still at 997 price point, and we sold several one of those as well. But unfortunately, it wasn't sustainable either. We then changed to number five, living your purpose. Throw off the role society put on you and be your authentic self. That was offer number five. Then we switched to offer number six, which was menopause secrets and live life to the fullest during menopause, overcome your symptoms naturally. This offer was the one we stopped at. And this one, living your purpose, was relatively okay. But this one generated us even more money. Therefore, we stayed with this offer. And the reason why is I'll explain in a bit. As you may see, we'll be walking through the exact steps we took to create this offer and why it generated us 80K in cash after we created it and started promoting it properly. So, as I said, the last two sticked around for longer and we saw more success with it. But the whole point here is that we still tried 6 different niches, problems to focus on. And that's okay. It's okay to try and change your offers, just don't jump between them every month like we did. If I could go back in time, I would probably just focus on one for the full 4 years and would be making way more money by then. And that's the exact reason why I feel qualified to talk about it. I failed so many times at it that I had to dig deep to understand why we failed. So I'd like to take a moment to look at those four and understand why they didn't necessarily work. If you will look at these four, or rather even the whole five from one to five, the reason why is because they all were in a mindset niche. So, as you may see here, achieve balance through personal transformation, balance in life. It's mindset ish. Let's overcome procrastination. That's purely mindset. Start living a life of balance, a combination once again. Self love, once again, it's mindset. Living your purpose is also mindset. And that is one of the reasons it didn't work. Because when we look at the biggest influencers that made money in coaching space, they usually are in some sort of mindset niche. Just keep in mind that it's harder to sell because there's so many of them. And then we look at people like Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza, and we're like, oh, but they say that they're helping people to live a life of meaning. And yes, they do, but most of them started at least in a tangible niche of some sort. Like Tony Robbins, for example, started as a smoking cessation coach. Very tangible, very niche down, and very specific. He then grew his brand, and then he started helping people with motivation and living a life of meaning and business, if I'm not mistaken, right? And that is a very important point because we think that in order to achieve success like others did, we need to do what they're currently doing. What we need to do is look at where they start so that we can follow their path, not the end goal and then destination. That's why Menopause Secrets worked, because it was specific and tangible. So, what is the offer? Because everyone is saying offer, but no one explains what kind of animal it actually is, right? So most people, when they think about the offer or hear create an irresistible offer, they remind me of this cat. They don't know what the hell they're doing to start with. Offer is a combination of several things in my experience. Stuff that's included in creating the irresistible offer are problem you solve, who you solve it for, how you solve it, the length of it, and how much is it. What's included and the wording. Those are 7 points I focus on when creating an irresistible offer that sells. I recently created an irresistible offer for my agency and I booked 3 sales calls within 48 hours of starting the business. And that is because I had an irresistible offer. Therefore, even though I didn't have a lot of followers on my social media profile, people felt it was good enough to book a call with me. So let's touch base on all these points, shall we? Number one, problem you solve. Problem you solve can be anything. It can be self love, it can be weight gain, it can be making money online, sewing, drawing, social media content creation, literally anything, ideally speaking, that you struggled with and that you overcame and that you're passionate about solving, right? That's why it says something that you probably struggled with and solve for yourself. That's the easiest way to start or continue. Bonus, I believe that the more tangible your problem is, the better. So, weight gain, for example, is usually easier to sell than mindset. Even though both niches are completely overflown, still weight gain is easier to sell because you can promise a guaranteed or a tangible outcome of some sort, given that they will follow your path. Number two is who you solve it for, aka your market or your niche. Here are things you need to consider when choosing who to work with. Those 5 points basically should be within your niche or within the person you want to work with. Number one, they must have buying power. They must have money to pay you. Because if you will be targeting people who don't have the money, it will be the worst business you will ever be in. You will work 16 hours a day and you will never be able to make enough money to be satisfied. Or you will make enough money through huge amount of payment plans that you will have to manage and you will be dissatisfied because of the amount of work it will bring you. They must be easy to target. Now, you also need to target them by the symptoms of their problem. I will say that it's harder to target menopausal women because nobody posts in their social media, I'm going through menopause. Help me, please. Therefore, you need to go in specific communities or to specific creators. Therefore, the amount of ways you can reach your ideal client shrinks. And that's okay if they have a buying power, they have a painful problem, you want to serve their problem, and they're growing, right? So you can sacrifice one of the points except buying power and painful problem if it's painful and it grows. That's important. Then, for example, weight gain would be way easier to target because you can just look at the social media profile picture and you can say whether or not the person may or may not want to lose weight. It's kind of obvious. Therefore, we want to make sure that all those points are there. So, buying power, easy to target. Painful problem, they must want to solve the problem. Just having a problem alone is not big enough. So, for example, let's take sewing. How many people would pay $2,000 to learn how to sew? Well, I'm going to take myself as an example, which by all means doesn't mean that everyone is the same, but still, I wouldn't pay $2,000 to learn how to sew. It's not painful enough for me. But if I were to weigh 20, 30 kilos more than I do now, I would probably want to invest $2,000 to $3,000 to solve that problem or more because I know that it's important. And most people are thinking in the same manner. You want to make sure that their problem is painful for them to pay money for it. Number four is you want to serve this problem because what happened, the reason why I am no longer a menopausal coach or in menopausal niche is because my partner and wife, by a mere coincidence, is not so fond of solving this problem anymore. She liked it in the beginning, then she realized she doesn't really want to serve this problem specifically. She wants to serve more problems and more people at the same time. She wants to have more freedom. And that's okay. Wonderful. Don't repeat this mistake. Don't choose a problem that you won't want to solve. Choose a problem that you would be passionate to solve for 5, 10 years straight. And last but not least, market growth. Menopause, for example, was a great market because that market never really stops. There is no cure for menopause. Menopause is a very natural process of ovaries stopping to produce hormones needed for women to reproduce, so to speak. Therefore, that was a great market. It just happens to pretty much everyone, every woman that has a healthy or unhealthy physique. So choose wisely as you pick your niche, since if you won't choose your niche properly, growing your coaching business will become a pain in the ass. That is guaranteed. Number three is how you solve for the problem that you solve. In other words, your method, or not really yours, but it doesn't matter. Point is that we want to have some sort of a roadmap we use to help our clients. And it's supposed to be strict, it's supposed to be straight. And I can anticipate phrases like, but every client is different. I work with them in a personalized way. Sure thing, you do still chunk on a high enough level. You can find step one, step two, and three. I'll give you an example with this offer, for example, living your purpose. You'd say that for every woman that wants to live her purpose, you'd want to make sure that she has a specific path forward. 100%, we personalized every single path forward. That's why we were able to charge 2K for that offer. But on a high enough level, we focused on three aspects, which is body, mind, heart: physical, mental, and emotional. Basically, your physical body, your mindset, and your emotional state. And once all those three problems were fixed, they started living a life of purpose because they started doing what they want and like to do. So if you think that you're too personalized and you're a special snowflake, just chunk up and find three pillars or three steps that they need to follow in order to achieve a result. Cool. So that's how you solve for it. Then, fourth is the length of it. This one is simple. Usually, you hear stuff like 90 days, 12 weeks, 6 months, and so on. Pick a time in which your clients can expect to see the results of your offer. It's not something that it's like 100%. Yes, you will, because sometimes it takes less time, sometimes it takes more. But having a time frame usually helps your clients to trust you more. So having an idea of how long your process is usually is good, and it's good to include it in the offer. As you may see in the first one, there was none. Second, none. Third offer, we learned that and we started putting 90 days or less on pretty much all our offers. They're not showing here, but in the offer document we used, it was 90 days. So 90 days or less. Then, how much is it? Pricing is a huge topic since most coaches are either hugely underpriced, usually the good ones, or hugely overpriced, usually the bad ones. Not always, but sometimes happens. We're talking in a context of high ticket coaching. So here's a frame you can use depending on your niche. A B2C, so business to consumer, menopause, weight loss, mindset, and so on, can be priced anywhere from 2K to 5K. A B2B could be priced anywhere from 5K to 10K plus. The reason for that is because in the B2B space, you can easily justify a spent amount of 10K if you're going to help them to make 20K, and so on. Therefore, you can price as much as you want as long as you can make them more money, because then it makes sense, then it's worth it. In a B2C niche, it's harder to explain why you're charging X amount of money. And people sometimes will ask, why is it so expensive? And I'll be like, oh, I don't know. That's the point. But there are exceptions, and that's how I did it. It doesn't mean that you should. So if you want to charge more than that when you're in a B2C niche, please do so. As long as you keep getting clients, that's what matters. In terms of pricing low, especially in the beginning, like 297 or 97, I did that in the beginning for the whole program. We were charging $97. And I will tell you this, it takes the same amount of effort in the beginning and in the end to convert someone for $97 as it takes to convert someone for 1,000 or 2,000. The difference really is in your own confidence about your pricing. So if you don't feel confident about charging 5K, nobody will pay you that. That's just the way it is in sales in general. So, what I would do is I would ask myself, so how much would I pay for it if I would be a client? And then I would double that and I would start there. Then I would double it again after first 5 clients, and I would double it again after another 5 clients. Or if you're confident, I would start charging 1 to 2K from the get-go in the beginning, irregardless. Then six, what's included? And now we're talking, isn't that the question everyone asks? So what's included, Sarah? This is one of the greatest levers to price yourself higher or lower and also be able to address more markets with different wallets. Here's a value stack we used for which we charged 3K. So, what was included in the program they bought? 8 step program, total of 4 hours, 3x live group sessions per week, 2 one-on-one coaching sessions, personalized meal plan, 4 month access to us on Messenger, 1 year access to all the updates, 1 year access to special events, 1 year access to a library of 400 plus on demand workouts. And when I say it that way and I break it down each step, and if I would want to make it even more valuable, I could stop after each step and connect it to a problem that they're dealing with. This already makes sense to charge $3,000 for. Now, I could just said, Oh, yeah, there is like a program for menopause women. It's called 3K. Which card do you want to use? That is very different if somebody asks me what's included. So having a good idea of that makes sense. Number one. Number two, if somebody only has 1K and they're like, look, Arcadia, I really want to work with you guys. I just don't have any more than 1K. That's like all the money I got. I'm ready to invest right now, but that's all I have. Okay. So what we will do is we will remove 1 year access to these things, and we will give you access to a program and a personalized meal plan. That's it. And we will give you 2 months of Messenger, access to us on Messenger. Would you like that? That will still solve the problems. Cool, cool. So having like bullet list or value stack, as it's called, and the term, if I'm not mistaken, is developed by Russell Brunson, allows you to have flexibility but also leverage. And here's what's interesting: most of those things you already have. You just didn't write them down and show them to your prospects. Most of you can easily have 1 year access to all the updates because this is vague. What means updates? Update on the program, update on the method. What does it mean? 1 year access to special events. You probably run webinars or masterclasses every now and then. You can just write it down and say 1 year access, make it caps. Or 1 year access to a library of 400 plus on demand workouts. Now, not everyone has that, but you probably have a library of some sort. Maybe a library of all your PDFs, or maybe a library of all your lead magnets. Doesn't matter. 8 step program, you probably have a program of some sort. If you don't, I would recommend to record it just in case. Group sessions or one on one coaching, like you all have that. You just didn't write them down. That's why when somebody asks, so what's included, you just lose yourself. And we're moving into 7, the wording. How the hell you actually say what you do when someone asks, James, what is it that you do in that coaching business of yours? Because wording matters, and it matters a lot. And I will drive with examples. Offer 1, I will help you cook the best salad and count calories. Offer 2, I will help you to never worry about weight gain again. When you see it like that, it's quite obvious which one is better. But you'd be surprised how often coaches have offer 1 in their bio, which makes sense. It's your solution and you're proud of it. But our prospects care about one thing and one thing alone: their problem and their outcome. So we should too. And there is a story that I will drive this example with. There was a budgeting app, and they had a competitor which was also a budgeting app. And budgeting app is a super simple thing. You pretty much, count your money. What can be simpler than that? And so the first one got around 1,000 downloads the first month, the other one got over 1 million. Therefore, the revenue obviously differed a lot. What was the difference between those two apps? Well, the first one said, I'll teach you how to count your money, or I'll help you how to count your money. The other one said, I'll show you how much banks are stealing from you on a monthly basis. Now, guess which one got the million downloads? Obviously, the second one. And no, it's not because of the negative hook. It's just we humans only care about what we want. We don't want to know how to count our money. It's a separate task that we need to execute on a daily basis or a weekly basis, depending on how serious we are about it. But we would want to know where our money goes. We get a paycheck, 500 is missing, it says the name of the bank. We don't know why, where, and how. We don't remember what did we take out, or when did we use a credit card. And a budgeting app used that, and that's what we want to do as well. Because when we talk about them and we talk about their problems, which is never worry about weight gain again, that's what they will resonate with. Not cooking best salads and count calories. Nobody wants to cook best salads and count calories. Nobody will pay $2,000 for that. That will be it. Those are the 7 points that we're focusing on when creating an irresistible offer. And when you put it all together, so you write it all together, then you put it in a specific sentence, it can either make you or break you. Right? Bonus. What do you think I didn't mention throughout the whole video? Your logo and your website. Yep. Until you're making 10K per month, don't worry about your logo and your webpage. I used a sales page crafted on Notion for a whole year and was more than happy with it. And this is one of those things your prospects, actually never really care about to start with. So now that you have all the wonderful information, what should you do with it? Right? Well, you can do whatever you want with it. But here's what I would do. There is a link to a Notion file, as I already said, in the description with a prompt that you can plug in ChatGPT. Answer the question that gives, answer them properly, and by the end of this activity, you'll get yourself an offer, a value stack, a USP, unique sales proposition, and you will have a clearer idea of what you do and how you do it. Therefore, it will include all those 7 pieces, and you won't have problem with positioning it in your bio and being a great coach. That would be it for today, comrades. Hope you enjoyed it. The end.